Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today? AMC Bigums here. Hope you're all having a good day. This video is going to be about AMC for the first couple minutes, and then after that we're going to talk about America, how we got to where we are. We're going to talk about the Great Reset. We're going to talk about the moass, just a whole bunch of stuff. So I want to get into this video right away. It's going to be rather long, so quick update on AMC. So Ellen Kopakin was actually hired recently, and she's going to be Vice President of Growth Strategy. She's actually going to be in charge of the popcorn. And if you guys remember, I told you there's about an 80 to 90% margin on popcorn. With her at the helm, I guarantee you'll be more towards the 90% instead of the 80. So that's very, very good thing for AMC. Top of that, food is one of the biggest money makers for theaters, so she'll be able to come out with new snacks for us and hopefully new food and upgrade the ones that they currently have. So this could be a very big hire, a lot bigger than people think. So that's a very good update for AMC. On top of that, if you guys haven't gotten your NFTs yet for Batman, make sure that you order your tickets in the next 4 days. A lot of people didn't get their Spider-Man ones, and they're upset, so make sure you don't miss out on these Batman ones. I'm definitely get one of these. I'm going to order mine tomorrow. I don't think you're able to get one if you're out of the United States. Unless you know somebody, I guess you can buy a ticket for them. Maybe, get an extra one, have them scan those tickets. That's the only way I can think of, but I don't really know another way you guys can get these NFTs. Another little quick update for AMC. They ended up buying 2 new theaters. One was actually in California and another in Maryland. And as you can see, the California one actually opened up today, February 10th. And the Maryland one opens up in March, but doesn't look like they have an exact date yet. So another thing we're going to go over quick is the Q1 box office numbers real quick. We're at 470 million. And you guys can see last year was only 76 million. So you can see from, last year compared to this year, it's a major, major jump. As you guys can see, AMC is starting to make profit, and now you can see why the short thesis is dying. And once Batman comes out, I can guarantee you we're going to break $1 billion this Q1. Hopefully we break 1.3, and as you guys can see, that would be the biggest Q1 in a long time. So let's make sure we keep going to this, going to the theaters, going to see movies, supporting our company. That's still the best way to kill short thesis. And let's see here. The last thing I wanted to go over with AMC. So the short interest is over 21%. And another thing everybody's been getting super excited about is the utilization has jumped all the way to 100%. And one of the reasons that I think that happened is a lot of people saw these 13G filings. And they saw it with BlackRock and Vanguard, and a lot of people thought that they went out and bought all these new shares, jumped up 500%. Well, they ended up having to show those because they had over 5% ownership, and that was actually all those shares. If you look at their 13F filings, that was from when we went into the Russell, so those were from the ETF purchases. So those weren't new shares, just so everybody knows. What I think happened with that is if you guys look over here, it shows that BlackRock is still giving during the pandemic, that BlackRock is still giving the government, advice, things like that. So what I think is happening is the government, since they've been going into these short sellers, seeing how bad this actually is, was like, hey man, since it happened on 6 other stocks at the same date, so clearly somebody didn't go in and borrow all of them on AMC and then happened to borrow them all on. So that means somebody that's been lending them all, which has been in each one of those companies, which BlackRock's in all of them. Each one of those, that means I think the Doge went in there and was like, hey, well, we're investigating these short sellers. You guys need to stop lending these shares out. It's already bad enough. So if that's the case, that's really, really good news for us going forward. So nothing but good news for AMC, as you guys can see. So now what I want to get into actually is going to be America, how we got here. What we actually are turning into is actually a word for it. It's called a corporate republic. We'll get into that pretty soon. But first let's get into some things here. I'm just going to talk for a little bit. One of the things I want to talk about, everybody, is America's become a giant Ponzi scheme in the end of the day. The America we read in textbooks, the ones we learned about in class, that's actually dead. The word freedom that we learned about is no longer in existence. Back in the day, a man could get a full-time job, provide for his family, put money away in savings, invest for their future, own a home, own a car. The wife could stay home. Think about this. People had 1,000% more financial freedom than we do to this day, and technology has grown better and better and better. So why is the way of our living not gotten better and better and better? It only has for a select few. What we used, we can't afford those same luxuries as those select few. What we used to call vacations is now just a word to so many people. They can't afford them because everyone, a lot of us are living one paycheck, one catastrophic event, one health issue, one car breaking down away from going right back into feeling good to being broke. So, like I said, our way of life is going completely down compared to what it was, and that makes no sense. The biggest transfer of wealth actually happened, a lot of people don't know this, in the last 2 years, right in front of our eyes. But the problem is it happened backwards. As you guys can see, as I talked about with the Goldman CEO, I was just pissed because, 136 to 1 leveraged. How is that possible? And he's getting a $35 million bonus. As you guys can see, everywhere you see, highest profit in years, highest profit in years, highest profit in years. And then you got Senator Warren. CEOs are bragging to investors about making record profits by raising prices. Corporate power is an inflation problem. It is, you guys. These guys are raising prices, and on top of that, they're firing their best workers. I'm seeing this over and over. I work in computer programming, and it's a brutal industry. If you guys ask anybody that works in computer programming, you will see people, it has one of the highest turnover rates. You'll see these people that work at a company, and they got promoted to developers, and they're sitting there making these products that can make these guys millions of dollars. And right after they make them, the guy will say, "Hey, can I get a raise? I just made you, ma'am." "Nope, you're gone." Boom, and they'll fire him. And it's like, and then they'll go hire the next guy that's just a brand new person, doesn't know anything. They don't even have to know coding, but they'll have other people go teach them, and they don't care. Why? Because they just saved $65,000 because the $10 million that the guy just made them in the product. It's not enough. It is unbelievable what is happening around us. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I say this quote all the time. John Adams said it back in the day. There's 2 ways to enslave a nation. One is by the sword, and the other is debt. The problem is like everything else, they evolved. They realized the sword. Other governments do the sword. They realize that we've been blasting everyone else for that. We can't do that. Well, the other way to get it, and the more sneaky way to do it, is through debt. We enslave them through debt. How? Because they can never get out of that debt, that finance, the way the system is set up. They'll always be funneling it to the rich, and the rich will always be able to make more money and be able to spend other people's money instead of theirs. Now, there was this quote that I heard from a banker. This is from one of the largest bankers in the world. He's one of their CEOs, and one of the things he said was, they had talked to him about money because they're talking about how, why doesn't anyone have all this money on hand, blah, blah, blah. No one uses money anymore. And he says, money's good, but credit's better. Because if you're using credit, you're spending somebody else's money. But the second you're paying with cash, that means you're using your own. I mean, that's how these guys think. We're literally numbers to these guys. That's it. We're not people, we're numbers. Look at BlackRock. BlackRock's over here buying up every single house. Every single house they can. Why? Because they're sitting there looking at it going, hey, we can make these guys rent for the rest of their lives. They go to their banker buddies. Don't let these guys get loans. I know that their loan's only $800, but I can charge them $1,500 and $2,000 in rent. So if you guys don't approve them for these loans that are paying less, I can obviously approve them to be able to be a renter way easier. So we'll sit there and make that money for the rest of their lives. It'll be free money, and then when they die, guess what? Someone else will just move in. And if we can't get somebody to move in, eventually we'll just sell the house, buy a new one, and start over. That's literally what it is. It's like we're literally numbers to these people. And by saying that, I want to bring up what is called this corporate republic. Now, this is what, it's basically a form of government. It runs like a business involving a board of directors, executive, blah, 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 an aspect of society as privatizing by a single or small group of companies. The ultimate goal of this state is to increase the wealth of its shareholders, blah, 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 and the government acknowledges its status as a corporation. Utilities, hospitals, schools, military, police would be privatized. Social welfare is carried out by corporations, form of pensions to benefit employees instead of the state. Corporate republics do not exist officially in modern history. Modern competition laws and development of modern nation states prevent a company from gaining or being granted such amounts of political power. So what do? You go ahead and you say, all right, just like everything else, how do we get around that? We buy our politics. Well, you come over here. The largest corporations, here you go. We live in a world of corporations dominate more and more of our lives. Their drive for growth and profit affects behavior of their employees, and their advertising shapes all of our minds. They even own the majority of media, because through it they can purchase influence over politicians and over how citizens think and behave. The largest corporations now have more resources at their disposal than many nations. Perhaps we should think of them as empires of the 21st century. Have you guys ever heard of the word corporate empire? When you can't use the word monopoly, you become a corporate empire. Now, do you guys remember the word family office that I showed you? When you can't be a hedge fund, or it's harder to be a hedge fund, you become a family office. Well, if you can't become a monopoly, you become a corporate empire. So there's always ways to get around what we say can't happen, to kill competition. As you guys can see, they use the stock market as their own playground to kill competition. How? They short, they take the media and bash it. They go ahead and say, so no one else, they talk to all the banks, all these other companies, don't give them loans, make sure they have to keep coming to us. Give them bonds with convertible notes, transfer those when they have enough of those and enough shares. Now I own your company, I own your patent, I'm going to destroy that, and you have superpower entities. You guys, take 1 minute now to Google, what does BlackRock own? You guys are going to be blown away how much BlackRock owns. You shouldn't have... Tell me how that's not a monopoly. Well, it's not, because it's a corporate empire. They're in a whole bunch of different fields, not just one. Okay? Like I said, it's crazy what is going on. You have CEOs, like I said, with Goldman getting $35 million bonuses, but you're leveraged 136 to 1. Now, the way America's set up, and the biggest problem is, it's like, okay, so you use a bank, we have to use a bank. We put our money away in a bank, and it's, here, we're going to give you 1, we're going to give you 2, we're going to give you 3% on your money if you let us hold it there. But then if you come get a loan from us to get a house, to get a car, if you come get a loan from us, we got to get like, I don't know, 10, 15% interest, depending on your credit. But the money you're making is going to make 15 times less than what we're going to charge you for a loan. What? Like I said, these companies take these PPP loans. Now, the biggest transfer of wealth has happened in the last 2 years during this pandemic, mainly because of these PPP loans. You have people that have doctorates that can't get jobs because they look and they see these job postings for, hey, doctors, come work for $20 an hour. Why? Because as long as they're posting those jobs, guess what? They get the money, they get the taxes, they still get all these little checks. Like I said, this pandemic has been the biggest joke I've ever seen in my entire life. They shouldn't be profiting this hard. You go to grocery stores, you see how much of the shelves empty. You go to fast food places now, guess what? How many of them are closed? You go to Target, any of these convenience stores, anything. How many of them are now limited hours? You can't find people working. Everybody's having staffing problems, but yet you have Biden going, this is the best we've ever had. Our job growth rate is just skyrocketing because everyone's returning back to work. And then they get returned to work and then they get fired because they didn't want to put something in their body that is not proven to even stop the spread of it. Okay. Like I said, think about that. You have cancel culture now, guys. Cancel culture. Destroying freedom of speech. Ask Joe Rogan. Think about that. Freedom of speech is being taken. Debt. You're enslaved to debt. How are we any better than any of these other countries that our government smashes, destroys? Well, they used the sword. Yeah, well, you used that. You used the other one of the two. Like I said, John Adams didn't say that quote for no reason. Like I said, they're just as bad as all these other governments, but they sit there and make it look so much prettier. You guys have the choice of freedoms. You can go do whatever job you guys want. Yeah, I guess we can all try, but in the end of the day, in reality, no, we can't all go do the jobs we want. We got to go pay $70, $50, $80,000 to get these degrees, to go now be in debt on that for the rest of your life, in debt on these houses, on student loans, cars, like I said, everything. So it's like you have to go to college to get out of that place, but yet college is charging you 80 grand to even start. So by the time we can ever retire, how many guys are looking at 65, 70? It shouldn't be that way. It wasn't that way back in the day when our grandparents were working. Why were they retiring earlier than we are? Like I said, why has technology been better and better and better, but we're retiring later? Why is it people are living with their parents now to an age that 30s is like normal? 35s is normal. People with this pandemic now had to go. How many had to go and move back in with their parents? How many lost their house? How many have lost all these things? Or now that these renter things are gone, how many are going to? I mean, what is happening in front of our eyes is so scary, you guys. It's truly scary what is happening. I don't understand what is going on. You have people that are breaking the law, that are rich, and basically they just, here you go. Acceptance, waiver, and consent. You're not even admitting guilt, but you'll pay a fine. You'll pay a bribe. But only white collar. Blue collar people, you'll go to jail, no questions asked, or you're paying a fine that you're not going to be able to pay because it's going to be, fines are only for poor people to where we can't pay it. So now you're going to have to do community service. It's a life altering. But for them to rob and steal millions, bankrupt companies, I mean, how is that oh my gosh, what is going on? Like I said, you have people like Elon Musk complaining, oh man, I have to pay all this in salary or in taxes. Yeah, welcome to the rest of our lives. We have to pay a large portion of our checks, of our income to taxes, while we're getting taxed on food, while we're getting taxed on every item we want to buy. Meanwhile, you don't even know the price of anything in Target or Cub Foods. You have no idea how much a gallon of milk costs, but you're complaining that you're going to sell shares and sell shares. That's fine. Do it. Stick it to the man. Good. But the point is you should be paying that. The problem is this is what is destroying America. You have so many billionaires, and what are they doing? They're funneling money. They're hoarding all this money. That money is no longer going into circulation in the United States. That money is no longer being distributed to the people that they can now take and go ahead and keep propping up other businesses. So what is happening? Only the super strong, super corporate empires that we just went over survive. All the mom and pops, there's not enough money that those big corporations are giving out to people to where now we can go ahead and support up those mom and pop shops to the point where, like I said, competition is dead. They say no monopolies, but that's all we are. Monopolies and back handshakes. Monopolies and back handshakes. Government officials lying to you when they're going to be elected while they're trying to get those votes. Think of how many times you've heard a politician, I don't care who it is, say, I'm going to do this, and this. And they get in, and their list was 25 things they ran their campaign on. And they don't even do a single one. 90% of the time. And the other 10%, they get one or two of them done. The others, they didn't even try. They didn't even care. Or they actually, a lot of the times, they'll vote against what they said they would have done. Because suddenly they get in office and boom, here comes that backhand paycheck. Ask Hester Pierce. Like I said, this stuff is unbelievable. Our nation is now ran by the mafia. We have banks running coke. Think about that. You have people burning buildings down. Everyone, oh man, that's a conspiracy. Yeah, okay, according to the whole world and fire marshals and everything else, what was in there? Is the documents, is the contracts, the derivatives market? Oh, you mean the thing that is $5 quadrillion? Think about this. It's unfathomable to say that word. $5 quadrillion. What nation even has that much? Think about that. There's more money in the derivatives market than there is in the world. And already we broke it all down. Almost 70% is interest. So that's not even money that came in. So then all that interest, they take all those interests and they package it together and then they sell that on top of it. So they're selling money that hasn't even came in yet. And then when those default, guess what? Oh well, we'll just charge them more inflation. We'll just raise prices. We'll just do all these other things that hurt the small guys because who cares? But the problem is this is why the Great Reset's going to happen. You cannot kill your middle class. If you kill your middle class and you have the poor and you have the rich, you no longer have that in between. Everyone is going to revolt at some point. You're going to have 1 and 99%. Think about that, you guys. Think about that number. 99% and 1. That's what it is currently. At what point do we look at it and go, wait a second, this isn't right. We need to stand up and stop this. We need to take our country back. This collapse needs to happen. The government can't keep propping it up. They're trying. They're thinking of everything they can. You saw Powell panicking, not knowing a single answer on what to do. The problem is we got too smart. We have the internet. We can teach. This is our most powerful weapon, you guys. Never stop digging. Always expose everything you can. I don't care what it is. If you think it's small, it's not. Expose it. Everything you can. Everything we can show the world. This stuff needs to get out. Why? Because they control the media. If we don't expose it, we know the media, the news, the thing that's supposed to won't. Think of how messed up that is. How can you control the media like that? How can these banks be uncollapsible? If you guys look at one of Ken Griffin's quotes back in the day, they asked him what he did wrong when he lost a lot of money. And he looked at him and said, I tried to be a bank, and then when I realized there's no one can be a bank but a bank. And he realized why, because the way our system's set up is we'll always have to bail them out because the world is set around them. And they will always keep stealing and breaking the rules, and they will always keep shipping coke. Why? Because they're bigger than life. Why? Because jail isn't even a factor to them. It's not even a possibility. I mean, think about that. That is insane, you guys. See, like I said, one of the things reason why I think this reset has to happen is you're eventually going to have a civil war breakout. Like I said, with this 99 and 1, too many people are already waking up, and this is why I always say fighting back is the best way to fight back. Buy and hold. This Ponzi scheme, propping this all up, is the stock market. Like I said, they made it to where you cannot make enough, and think about it, they made it to where you can't make enough by just investing in a bank. Your only other option, well, I got to do it in the stock market, that we now learn is how they steal from you anyways. So they're making it look like, yeah, give us the breadcrumbs here, give us the breadcrumbs there. But we all know unless you align with the big boys, you're not making that much money. Or you know how to look, what the stuff to look for in the back end to do. You know, obviously got option traders, got a whole bunch of ways to make money. But it all end up aligning with what do the big boys want to have happen that day. Like I said, this world is so corrupt. These politicians are so corrupt. If you look at mafia back in the day, what is the one thing they did wrong? This is the problem, is everybody learns, everybody grows from their mistakes. What did Al Capone do wrong? He hated the government. He tried to avoid the government. Well, what did the new mafia do? They said, you know what? Let's not try to avoid the government. Let's hire lawyers. Let's have the lawyers write the laws. Let's send them over to politicians. We'll get the politicians in there that can make the laws legal. So all of this is legal for us to steal. And then we'll have our buddies become the regulators. I mean, think about all this stuff. And then we'll just keep putting in people that will go from job to job, from Citadel to the DTC to Hester Pierce to SEC to wherever they need them to go. Wherever they needed them to go at that time. Wilmer and Hale. We all remember good old Wilmer and Hale. The most shadiest law firm in the history of life. They gave all Citadel their exemptions. They fought for everything. And like I said, eventually this inflation is going to catch up. When everybody sits there and nobody can, like I said, nobody can afford this food, what are they going to do? The civil war will break out. So make sure, like I said, you guys protect your family, protect your money, protect your 401ks. This is the main reason why I tell you guys. You have $5 quadrillion in the derivative market. 70% is interest, you guys. Think about that. So it's still not even real money. That bubble can't be propped up forever. It can't. It's got to burst. Powell's face said it all. What are we going to do when they figure it out? Like I said, you can't have this many billionaires. You can't have that much money get funneled to the Cayman Islands. You can't have billionaires and all these rich guys get all these tax of credits, all this stuff for the last 15, 20 years, and then go, well, where'd all that money go? Why is inflation there? It went to all the tax credits for the rich guys. It went to all these offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Can you guys imagine how much money has been funneled, truly, to the Cayman Islands? Now think about that. That's all getting out of American currency. Now think about this with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, he comes out and says it's a national emergency. Why? Because it's another way, another form of more currency leaving the United States, leaving these monies and being held in other assets. It's more currency not circulating. Everybody's trying to hold what they can because what little they can get their hands on, because that's it. It's the 99 and the 1% grasping at what straws they can get, and they're no longer giving it up. Well, the 99% will never give that up. And like they said with the credit guy, they're sitting there like, oh man, we'll just keep on taking money from the... Well, eventually those bonuses have to stop. Like I said, this world will collapse. This economy is set up to collapse. This economy is to continuously funnel money from the rich and the middle, or from the poor and the middle class. It's continuously meant to funnel it up. And the only way to do it, like I said, is through college, through all these other things where they, again, make a ton of money. And now you're going to do what? Do these rate hikes? Well, who does that hurt? Us. People that want to go get houses. People that want to get cars. People that want to do any kind of loans with these banks. So at what point do you sit there and go, okay, you're getting us on interest, you're getting us on, now you're going to rate hike those, you're getting us on taxes, you're getting us on inflation, on food, on everything. Why is every single tax, like we just showed, why are every single oil company making record profits, biggest profits in 7 or 8 years during a pandemic? Think about that. Like I said, people are just sitting there and they're just going around all these rules or paying everyone who they need to get around them. This moass that we're doing, everyone's holding for this. We need this to happen. It's the only way. We're literally being ran by corporations. Ken Griffin, like I said, he put $128 million to the Republicans. You guys think about that. Think about how much money we don't know about. There's a new Republican thing. It's a new thing that you can donate to, and it doesn't even tell them where the money ends up. Think how fucked up that is. It doesn't even tell them where the money ends up. So they don't really know where the donation goes. Like I said, it's getting to the point where it's like, at what point do we stop and go, all right, we're no better than all these other countries that you guys have literally complained about. How can we get denied for an $800 loan, but, approved for a $2,000, rent payment? This country, like I said, we're all about numbers. And if you looked at back in the day with Ford Motors, like he said, these businesses were meant to offer a service, to better the community. It's no longer about that. We're literally about, how can I make money? How can we make more profit? How can we lie to them? How can we make them stare at their cell phones? Make them play their video games? Make them not pay attention? Steal from them? Lie to them? Write more laws to where we can lie for years? Think about that. We didn't find out about that $29 trillion because of the laws. They were able to push it off for 12 years. Think about that. That is scary. Said that this reset needs to happen. The United States can't keep going like this. You cannot have a 99 and a 1. Imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years for your children. How much will a gallon of milk be for your kids? Think about that. How much will a gallon of milk be for your children in 10 years, 15 years? They're already talking about they're already looking at it going, inflation's going to be higher than we thought. They say that every single week. What's going to happen? Like I said, eventually, this is my problem, is America. We're one of the most obese countries in the world. Why? Because everybody eats fast food. It's one of the biggest money-making industries out there. But people look so down upon it that they can pay these workers not enough to live. And then when they ask for 15 an hour, you guys literally felt justified to look at them and say, you guys are horrible people for asking more. You should have to go get a better job. No, that's the thing. All jobs contribute to society. So just McDonald's owner, that CEO that makes billions a year, just he can make that. None of the workers. Like I said, you guys think about that. They had us brainwashed, just like these articles said, to where people were literally, you might even be one listening to this right now, that where you're like 15 an hour minimum wage? That's crazy. These people are jokes. Those are just for children. Well, okay, so even if they are for children, like I said, you may raise the minimum wage. You raise wages for every job, because now you can walk in there and say, hey, I have this. Why am I only making this much more than minimum wage? And then it would have kept going up, and everyone else's job kept going up. They had you brainwashed, thinking that people asking for money in life is bad for doing a job. We're only, apparently, like I said, apparently only the owners. Think about how much the owner of a Domino's makes. Think about that. How much do you think they make in a store per Domino's? How much do you think Papa Murphy's makes? Taco Bell's. Think of how much those things make, but you guys sit there and like I said, think of how much those workers go through in a day. I'm just using that, I mean, nurses, teachers, anything, you guys. Think about that. All these, think about that, though. That's the worst. Nurses make how much? But yet these head hospitals, think of how much American medicine is overpriced. We're not even going to get into that. But think about how much money those make and how little the nurses make. Like I said, we got to stop putting down these people or these type of jobs in the world, because in the end of the day, we all contribute to a society. We need everybody. We need us all. We gotta work together. Like I said, the 99% and the 1. Guess how much many more of the 99% are than the 1 in the end of the day. They can only steal from us for so long, you guys. Think about it nowadays. You have these same jobs that we're making 30, 40,000 a year 5, 6 years, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Well, guess what? They're still on the same websites for 30, 40,000. The same exact. Why haven't they gone up as everything else has gone up? Those jobs with the price of inflation, where everybody looks at, oh man, a 30, 40, $50,000 a year job. That's a pretty good job. That's what the media's got sunk into our skin. That's a good job. But in reality, with inflation and all these hikes going up, we're going to be like a 30,000, 25,000. Well, how much can you really live off that? Especially with your rent going up, your bills constantly going up, food constantly going up. You see my point? Why are they buying islands? Like I said, we have to do something to where this money has to get back into the circulation of the United States. We need to get back to buying a whole bunch of gold, backing our dollar. I mean, like I said, there is nothing that can prop this up, and that is why Powell has that look on his face that entire speech, and he just says, well, they can still eat, drive, and go to work. I'll never get over that the rest of my life. Your government literally said that you can eat and drive, so be happy with it. They don't care about inflation because it really only affects the people that live paycheck to paycheck. That's what your government said. I don't care about you. It doesn't affect me. You can still you can still live your life every day. Like I said, vacation, all that's now a pipe dream. At what point do we stop, stand up, and realize this needs to stop? We have to take America back. This reset has to happen. This moass has to happen. These people need to go to jail. We all need to hold, and we need to take every last thing they can so we can all get that money back and put it back into the circulation of America. Get our country back. Like I said, get competition back in the world. We got to figure something out. We cannot have corporate empires. You cannot change the word monopoly to corporate empire. You can't. Because this is crazy. They cannot own politicians. They can't own the media. Like, we have to start doing something about this. This is just crazy. But I'm already over 35 minutes. I said I'd stop right about 30, 35 minutes. I got a lot more to say. I'm actually going to be doing a podcast with a buddy of mine. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. I want to do like a Joe Rogan type feel. Sue me, I don't really care. But I loved his tone and I love that feel. So hopefully we'll be getting that online here. He's going to be making a website for that. But we'll be doing that almost every Sunday. But thank you guys for listening. Hope you have a good day. But like I said, if you're holding AMC, nothing but good stuff. Like I said, the moass has to happen. That bubble will burst. There's nothing that can stop it from bursting. And when it does, like I said, it's going to get real ugly real quick. But like I said, don't let them off with a little slap on the wrist, guys. Don't be the SEC. Don't sell low and let them off with a warning and be part of that swamp we're fighting. Let's drain it. That's why I say drain the swamp. Take it all. Take it all. Everything. We should own the Cayman Islands by the end of this. We should own the Cayman Islands. All right. I love y'all. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.